You're moving through the apartment like a ghost of yourself, up from the desk, into the kitchen, into the bedroom, with your phone as a dim lantern and nothing to show for the motion. You're not lazy or weak. You're in that quiet fog where minutes blur and your shoulders stay tense because the day has lost its edges. The real problem isn't willpower. It's that modern life erased the little handles that tell your body, we're done and we're starting. This short piece will show you why control returns fastest at the seams and how claiming the frames between places, a tiny, humane pause, can hand you back the next small step. Tonight, you can start landing again, one threshold at a time.
It's late enough that the air feels thicker and you're moving through it on a kind of silent autopilot. You stand up to get something and arrive somewhere else empty-handed. The reason evaporated between the desk and the doorway. You open a new tab and stare at the search bar, not sure what you were looking for. Cursor blinking like a small metronome for the part of your mind that hasn't sat down yet. Rooms blend, hours blur. Your phone becomes a lantern you carry from kitchen to bedroom to hallway, lighting the floor but not the next step. Your shoulders live a few inches higher than they need to, holding up the weight of unfinished thoughts. You keep promising yourself one last scroll, but it multiplies like mirrors, one reflection feeding the next. Deadlines hum in the background like an appliance you can't find, and messages you should answer form a quiet pile in a corner of your chest. You feel behind without a clock telling you so, just that steady pull that says catch up, except you can't even name what you're chasing. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of character.
It's the thin fog that hangs over tired brains, the one that steals nouns, plans, and the next small step. You're not broken. You're between places, half in this room, half in the last notification, half in tomorrow's guilt. And that's the part no one names. Being stuck isn't always a big wall. Sometimes it's the seam where one thing ends and the next hasn't begun, the threshold where momentum loses its footing. You're standing at the seam, hand on a doorframe, phone glow on your face, waiting for a reason to land. Notice that. The in-between is not empty. It's simply unlabeled. If rooms are sentences, you're hovering over the period, not sure how to start the next line. For tonight, you don't need a grand plan. You need a way to meet yourself at the edges and be handed back the thread you keep dropping. Stay here with me, just for a breath, right at the frame.
The root isn't willpower, it's design. Your day has no handles at the edges, nothing to grab when you shift from one scene to the next. Transitions, doorways, app switches, tab changes are slippery. Without cues, your brain keeps the last process running in the background, notifications, worries, the echo of an unfinished message, and never fully loads the next one, rest, water, one task you can complete. The result is leakage, time, attention, intention, dripping out in tiny, constant drops until the evening feels thin and frayed. Your nervous system needs closure signals and starting cues, but modern life erased them. The commute is gone, the office door is gone, even end of work is a floating idea, more vibe than boundary. So your brain compensates with loops. Check, scroll, wander, repeat. An endless buffering that looks like avoidance but is really missing instructions. When the edges are blurry, the middle gets muddy. You are not failing at focus. You're missing thresholds that tell your body, we're here now.
Imagine a piece of fabric without seams. Pull at one side and the whole thing slips. Structure lives at the edges. Rituals once did that for you without asking. Locking the car, turning a key, hanging a bag on a hook. Now the cues live inside screens that never close, so the door never makes that satisfying click. This is why you walk into a room and forget why you came. It's not memory's fault. It's the absence of a landing pad.
Control returns fastest at the edges, not the center. Fix the seams and the fabric holds. You don't have to rewire your personality or summon harder effort from a tired body. You need a gentle design that installs tiny handles where the day slips, at the doorway, at the chair, at the tab that opens and closes. Think of it as adding punctuation back to a run-on sentence. Periods and commas don't change words, they make words readable. Thresholds don't change your life, they make your life graspable. One entry, one exit, one simple cue at a time. Start by noticing that every passage you make is a chance to anchor.
What if every doorway was a switch, not a hole you fall through? Picture each frame as a tiny handle that hands you back your purpose, a border you can touch that says, "This is a new scene." Not a ritual that takes minutes or a performance that needs energy you don't have. Just a breath and a sentence, small enough to fit between steps. You pause at the wood, exhale longer than you inhale, and say what you came for in 5 words or fewer, like you're setting a pin so you can return to yourself. Then you cross. The room hasn't changed, but the path through it has edges again. You don't have to clean your whole life tonight. You don't have to fix the feeds or the future. You only need to claim the thresholds, the brief seconds when you're already stopping, already shifting weight, already reaching for the next doorknob. Turn transitions into tiny rituals, and the day will start clicking into place like magnets, pieces that find each other because you've given them a direction. When you stand in a doorway, you're not lost, you're between. And between is where leverage lives. The seam is small, which makes it powerful. Little movements change trajectories. A focused step into the kitchen becomes water instead of wandering. A named purpose at the desk becomes one reply instead of 5 tabs blooming. The room will still be the room. The deadlines may still hum, but you'll have a way to enter it on purpose instead of drifting through its middle. Think of the frame as an ally that doesn't ask for anything you're not already doing. You are going to pass through anyway. You are going to breathe anyway. All you're adding is a gentle, steadying sentence and the willingness to let the edge support you. The story of your night can turn not with a sprint, but with a hinge. You don't need to be faster. You need to land, then move. Make thresholds do the heavy lifting. Here's a simple, humane system you can start tonight, folded into the moments you already have. First, the doorframe pause. Every time you cross, stop with both feet on the ground and touch the frame with your fingertips. Exhale longer than you inhale, 4 in, 6 out, and let your shoulders drop as the air leaves. Name your purpose in 5 words or fewer, like kitchen for a glass of water, bedroom to change into pajamas, or desk to send one reply. Step in only after you've named it, as if the frame is handing you back the right thread. Second, the one thing rule per room. Each time you enter, complete exactly one small physical action before anything else. Fill the water bottle. Put one item back where it belongs. Open the blinds. Close one open tab. Lay out tomorrow's shirt. If your mind blanks, default to water, trash, or light. Drink water, toss one piece of trash, or adjust the lighting. Third, phone at the threshold. Choose one doorway before bed. Hallway to bedroom works best, and place a simple charging spot outside that door. When you reach that frame, the phone stays out. You go in. If that feels too hard, set a 5-minute linger rule. Plug the phone outside, then you're allowed to check it once more while standing at the frame. When the 5 minutes end, step in without it. Fourth, stick a tiny cue, a small dot sticker or a piece of tape on 2 door frames you use most. Each time your eyes catch the dot, run the exhale and the 5-word purpose. No debate. 5th, threshold scripting. Pre-write 3 microscripts on a sticky note near common doorways. Bathroom, brush teeth, rinse face.
Kitchen, water, put pan in sink. Desk, open dock, type 10 words. Treat these as the default when you're foggy. 6th, the 2-minute perimeter sweep at day's end. Walk the edges of your space, door to door, for 2 minutes. At each frame, exhale and adjust one thing. Lights off, cup to sink, chair pushed in. Stop when the timer ends, not when everything is done. Closure, not perfection. 7th, for workplaces or public spaces, use substitute thresholds. Elevator doors, your chair back, the edge of a carpet, even the seam on your sleeve. Touch, exhale, name your purpose. 8th, soothe your nervous system at the seam. Drop your jaw, let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Soften your eyes and take a long exhale. If a panic spike rises, plant your feet and name 5 things you see. Then choose the smallest next physical step. Start with 1 doorway tonight. Just 1. Let the frame lend you a hand.
You don't need a brand new life to feel different. You need a handle you can reach for in the dark. Door frames were already there, quietly patient, holding up the edges of your rooms while you rushed through them. Now they're yours on purpose. Imagine this. You cross into the kitchen. Breathe out, say water. You drink. You cross into the bedroom. Leave the phone outside. Say rest. You sleep sooner. Not perfectly, just sooner. The hum of unfinished things lowers a notch, not because the list vanished, but because your body heard a clear ending. Tomorrow, the same pause at the frame becomes the first step that sticks. Desk. 1 reply. Send. The day starts to string itself into beads you can count, transitions that click instead of bleed. You were never missing discipline. You were missing anchors. And you can build them in seconds, right where your foot falls and your hand lands.
The fog lifts not because you pushed harder, but because you learned how to land. Threshold by threshold, your day starts to have edges again. With edges, your center calms. That gentle click of arriving replaces the ache of drifting. The rooms don't change, your way through them does, and that is enough. When the night leans in and the screen tries to keep you floating, you'll have a quiet practice that returns you to ground without scolding, without spectacle. A breath, a touch, a 5-word purpose, then the step that matches it. Let the frames teach you how to finish and how to begin, over and over, until your nervous system trusts the rhythm. Tonight, when you pass that first doorway, let it hand you back your next small step. Drink, wash, close, breathe. That's enough. That's how control returns, quietly, at the seam, where you choose to enter your life instead of skimming past it.